Elizabeth Montgomery. Boy, every Christmas it's the same thing. Crowds, shopping, lugging the presents home. I love it. And I'm having the same problem this year I had last year and the year before. Deciding what to buy for my family and friends. Well, I've discovered something that helped me and just might help you this holiday season. This is the gift.
The reality of behavioral health is, although it matters, it is routinely ignored. Holidays may remind us of real-life situations and events that we believed were safely in the past, long forgotten. But reminders are often triggers in faded memories that can become points of pain. Have we ever thought about how Gen Z youth are affected at the holidays? Or for that matter, millennials, boomers, and Gen Xers, and even those who lack labels. Holidays are a time to remember what matters most. Mental health for ourselves and those we love matters. We're going to meet John, April, Sasheen, Lilia, and Nia. They are on the front lines, facing the realities of behavioral health every day. These are their stories.
The holiday season can be a great time, full of memories, lots of fun, but it also can be very expensive and it can be stressful. I come from a huge family. I have 4 sisters and 5 brothers. And so you can imagine how many nieces and nephews I have. Over the years, I've spent so much money trying to make sure that every single child receives something from me. But I learned now that I have to have limits. You have to say no. Don't stress yourself out. Make a budget and stick to it.
The holiday season is not a good, happy season for everybody. When I was younger, I figured everybody would be happy around the holiday time. But just, as I've gotten into my career and done more and more counseling, I'm very aware now that it's not a good time for everybody. There's a lot of sadness going on, missing people, missing loved ones, anniversaries of a loss, or just missing people that they used to spend the holidays with. And so just recognizing that we all experience the holidays differently, and for some people, unfortunately, it's a more negative sentiment.
Holidays are always stressful, and I think they are stressful for everyone, just for different reasons and in different degrees. A lot of triggering happens. Being around family members can be extremely triggering. Sometimes we forget just how, we felt around family until we get back around them again. And so then we're actually swept up in it and don't realize it's going on until after we've overreacted or we've reacted in some form that we realize, is what we used to do and how we used to feel. I think the biggest thing I work with patients whenever I'm talking about holidays is expectations. Is making sure to address those. What is your expectation of the holiday? What movie are you thinking about when you think of returning home? Do you imagine playing out? Because majority of the time, disappointment becomes a factor because of those expectations. Also, I think people lose sight of the fact that the holiday is for them too. Everybody's running out trying to get everything for everyone else, that they forget to slow down and enjoy it themselves, forgetting what the holiday is actually about and forgetting that it's their holiday too. It's not about everyone else only, but it's about their joy as well. And then I actually sit down with them and say, okay, let's have a game plan for when you are going to be with family. Where is a safe place you can step away to that you'll be left alone to calm down? Who's a friend that you can speed dial, if you start to feel yourself being activated or triggered? Bring your own meal, bring your own drinks. If you struggle with addiction of some sort, make sure you have the things that you need to keep you healthy, and just kind of plan for those things. Plan for the unexpected. And always remember you can leave anytime you like.
Holidays can be challenging, and this is why. I think that the power of social media and the family dynamics has just changed everything.
I have to agree with you, Nia. Especially when you think of how fast technology is, especially with like smartphones. I think people used to sit together and talk, and now, especially I can say for myself as Gen Z, it's so easy for me to pull my phone out and just start scrolling on something and forget that I'm even around family. So yeah, I agree.
I
with
think
you
that
there.
comes with a lot of isolating also. And I think that also stems from depression too.
Yeah.
Because me personally, being on my phone, it kind of gives me that chance to just be within myself and talk to who I'm talking to on the phone rather than talking to the person that's right there. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, definitely. I know sometimes family members will be trying to talk to me, but I'm in the middle of a text message or tweet or something. And so it's really hard to really be present for both conversations. And so you lose some of that family bonding and family conversation.
So there's something called seasonal affective disorder, which is also known as winter depression. So scientifically, it has been proven that when it gets cold outside, when the weather starts to change, that's more of a time where we want to isolate and be inside more. We want to cuddle, we want to lay down. But if you think about it, a lot of us are trying to stay warm, so we're staying in a household, but more of us are getting depressed. And when I say getting depressed, because during that time, maybe let's say someone lost their spouse. So now they're in the home and they're alone and they're thinking, oh, I'm watching this movie, but that was his favorite movie. So now though that grief start to come back up. Or let's just say you're in a household and you're like, I really don't have anyone. That's when you really start to have that self-reflection, like, I wish I can go by them. Or you're seeing on social media that the friends are having Friendsgiving and things like that. And you're like, oh, I really don't have friends, or I really can't do that. So I would say as the season changes, as it gets colder, more people stay in the house, they isolate, they're watching movies. Movies can be a trigger too.
Yeah.
So they're watching movies, watching Lifetime, and they start to reminisce about things of the past and things that they thought they healed from, but they never actually healed from it. They just suppressed it in the back
Avoided
of their mind.
it, yeah.
Yes. And you know, what I'll say is when it starts to get cold, you kind of have to make yourself do things to get out the house.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
for example, like, it's cold outside, I don't want to leave, but at least get out the bed and put on clothes.
Yeah.
If you start to lounge around in your pajamas all day,
never gonna get out of bed.
you're never going to get out of bed. You're never going to get out of bed. But you know, even though I mentioned that it can be winter depression, I think that comes a lot with people self-diagnosing also. Because if I can ask you, what is depression? What can you tell me depression is?
Well, I think for starters, you bring up a good point, because depression to a lot of people is just being sad. So there's a lot of self-diagnosing on social media because they feel sad and it's depression. No
And
question,
that's it.
period. That's it.
That's it.
When really we know depression can look different for everyone.
Yes.
You can have mild, you can have severe, you can have the irritability, the change in appetite, the change in sleep, you know, fatigue. But it really, truthfully, is so different in every individual.
Yes.
There's a list that we can mark off, but self-diagnosing is tricky with the social media, and all of it being wrapped up together.
Especially when it comes to depression, because depression, you have 9 symptoms. But like you said, it affects everyone different. And you said sad. You can be sad because your pet died. That don't mean you're depressed.
Right.
You can be sad because you didn't get to fly home and be with your family for the holidays. That doesn't mean you're depressed. It's just that in that moment, your brain isn't happy. Because we know that the mind literally makes us go. So whatever you seem to think in your mind, that's how you're gonna feel. So if you wake up every day and saying, I'm sad and I'm just depressed, then you're gonna start to convince yourself, oh
That
yeah,
you're
I'm
really
depressed.
depressed.
Yeah. Then you're not answering the phone and you're not talking to your friends. You're like, oh, I'm depressed. And it's like, what is depression?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? So
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just because everybody grieves differently and everybody needs and wants different things, my biggest piece of advice would just to be aware, to notice and do our best to notice if somebody is a little more quiet or not as active as usual, and to reach out. That's my other big piece of advice, would be to just reach out to anybody and everybody, loved ones, friends, people from church, You just perhaps reach out with a text or go visit, and just a simple, hey, how are you doing? Or I've been thinking about you. Hope you're doing well.
I think the time that you spend with your family, with your friends, even making sure that you're spending time with yourself, keeping your own mental health in check is more important than anything. And it's the best gift you can give yourself.